So, hello there, and welcome to a new Night of the Movies podcast. And in these podcasts, I talk all things movies and TV, and whatever I want for about half an hour to an hour once a week. And in today's podcast, I'm doing my final predictions for this year's Academy Awards, this year's Oscars. But before I get into that, I should say what I say at the start of every podcast I do, that if you are watching this podcast on YouTube, hello there to my viewers, but heck, you just don't have the time to watch the full podcast on YouTube, then you can check the podcast out audibly on Spotify at Night of the Movies on that platform, and also there should be a link to my Spotify account with this podcast in the description of this video below. But if you are listening on Spotify, hello there to podcast listeners, then you can also check the podcast out visually on my YouTube channel at Night of the Movies on that platform. Likewise, wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast, please feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the podcast, of course. I mean, if you don't enjoy the podcast, you don't have to like and subscribe, but I will feel offended. But at the same time, though, if you enjoy the podcast, please feel free to like, subscribe, and also leave some feedback so I know what to improve on in the near to future in these podcasts. But anyway, before I get into my topic of today, my topic of talking about my final predictions for this year's Oscars, which, if the podcast comes out on Sunday, which I'm hoping it will, the Oscars will be today, so that's quite exciting. I'm currently calling this on Friday, so I've got a couple of days to wait yet. But this should come out in time for Oscars night, as I'm going to call it in my household. But anyway, I was planning to review Scream 6 and the new Adam Driver dinosaur film 65 in this podcast today. However, it has been snowing around where I live, and so because of the snow, all the roads have been very much covered in snow over the past night and into the morning. And even so, the roads are actually pretty clear now. None of the buses are coming up to where I live, so I haven't actually been able to get to the cinema. I even went out early today to try and get the bus to at least watch Scream 6, because I've been watching all the other Scream films prepare for Scream 6 this week, and then the bus didn't turn up, and I couldn't be bothered waiting any longer. I just wanted to get home and have a nice cozy night in now. I was not in the mood to go to the cinema anymore because I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed that I couldn't go watch Scream 6 and 65. So hopefully, I mean, who knows nowadays, but hopefully I'll get to watch 65 and Scream 6 within the next week. Fingers crossed, hey. But at the moment, I don't have much hope. Simply because I've got so much on right now. And, every week, for the next couple of weeks, has got a big film coming out at the end of the week. At the end of next week, it's Shazam 2, which I'm looking forward to. At the end of the next week after that, it's, John Wick 4. And then the next week after that, it's, I'm pretty sure, Dungeons & Dragons. And then the week after that, it's the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And then the week after that, it just goes on and on and on. There's a movie coming out every single week at the moment. So if I didn't go to cinema today, I'm going to have more films to watch next week. And I just don't have the time at the moment, because I already said this in previous podcasts. I'm currently in the midst of, and sorry if you can hear a bike out there, I'm currently in the midst of planning, researching, and even writing drafts for my dissertation. I'm in the most busiest part of my academic life, so I really don't have that much time to go out to cinema. I love going to cinema, I love it, but I really don't have that much time. And normally I set a couple hours out on a Friday evening to go to cinema, but unfortunately that bloody didn't happen today because of the snow. And I should say, if you can hear my laptop there, I've got an email coming, just mute my laptop, shall I? I love the snow, and I might actually have a video out in the next week showing all the fun that I've had in the snow the past couple of days. Doesn't change the fact that I still want to go to the cinema though. And the forecast was indicating that I could go to cinema, but apparently bus drivers are lazy where I live, so, no news there. But anyway, that's why I'm not reviewing Scream 6 and 65 in this podcast. I would love to. I've heard Scream 6 is great. I've heard 65 is enjoyable, but apparently not. Apparently I can't go and see these movies today, which is unfortunate because now I have to wait and hopefully avoid spoilers for Scream in particular, over the next couple of days, because again, this is something I really want to say, but, There you go. That's life for you. So I'm going to stop complaining about things which aren't happening in this podcast and start talking about things which I should be talking about in this podcast. Not sure if it made sense there. But anyway, let's get into my final predictions for this year's Oscars. So I think it was about a month ago now, maybe a couple months ago, or it feels like a while ago. I talked about the Oscar nominations in a past podcast, and I talked about what I thought was going to get nominated as well in a podcast before that when I was talking about the Golden Globes, a rather unnecessary award ceremony, but it can also indicate, what's going to be nominated for the Oscars, and then some of my guesses as to what was going to get nominated were true and weren't. Sometimes got it right, sometimes I didn't. But I also talked about the Oscar nominations a couple of weeks ago now, or about a month ago, like I already said. And since then, I've actually watched the Oscar-nominated movies that I hadn't seen beforehand. So, beforehand, I hadn't seen Triangle of Sadness when I did my last podcast on the Oscars. I also hadn't watched Tar. I hadn't watched The Whale. I hadn't watched, what's the other one? Oh, Quiet on the Western Front as well. So, yeah, I've had a chance over the past couple of weeks to watch those films which have been nominated for Oscars that I just haven't got around seeing. I haven't seen all the films which have been, in some sort of Oscar category. Like, I haven't seen Aftersun, and Paul Mescal is nominated for that in the Best Actor category. And I've heard Aftersun is great, by the way, but it's like 10 quid on Amazon Prime, and I can't be bothered spending 10 quid on Amazon Prime for a film I can just buy on DVD for the exact same price. But at the same time, no, like I said before, it's snowing, so there's no orders coming around to my house right now. It's not currently snowing, by the way, but, there's snow all over the ground, and it's still quite bad out there in terms of snow. It's snowed really heavily. But anyway, I'm going to go off that and back onto the Oscars. You can see how all over the place I am today, by the way, because I had a plan to do something, and it didn't go out. But anyway, back to the Oscars, yes. So, like I said before, over the past couple of weeks, I've been watching the films which I hadn't seen beforehand when I did my last Oscars podcast. So now I've got a bit of a different viewpoint of when I think, should and shouldn't win at tonight's Oscars, I suppose. So this is coming out on Sunday. So anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Okay, I've got the Oscars page up on my screen, the official Oscars website. So let's talk about the nominations for writing for original screenplay. We have the Banshees of Inisherin, so Martin McDonagh. We also have Daniel Kwan and Daniel Shiner. I might be pronouncing that person's name. I'm going to apologize if I am. For Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, we have Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner. For The Fabelmans, we have Todd Field for Tar. And we have Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. I think that the winner is going to be Martin McDonagh for the Banshees of Inisherin. Although, it could very well go to the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And, should I say this now? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to say this now. I rewatched Everything Everywhere All at Once. Ever since I first saw it, last summer or something when it came out? I remember when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this wasn't the film I expected. And that's fine, It's often good when a film subverts your expectations. But I saw it, I was like, this isn't the film I expect it to be, so I need to see it again. I even said that in my review, which I did, on my old camera, by the way. I'm now using a more advanced camera. But I haven't really had the chance to sit down and watch Everything Everywhere All at Once again over the past couple of months because I've been watching other films, and there's always a part of me that didn't really want to watch it again because I didn't feel I had the best time watching it the first time. Like, I enjoyed myself, but there was moments when I was watching Everything Everywhere All at Once in the cinema, and I was thinking, why are people raving about this? I mean, granted, I watch in a cinema I don't usually watch films in, and also it was a bit of an uncomfortable experience because it was a busy cinema, and sometimes I feel a bit, self-conscious in a busy cinema. It's just the way I am. So, I said to myself, one day I'll rewatch Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I honestly thought it would not get nominated for any Oscars. Boy, was I wrong, because apparently it's in the front running for all the big ones right now, which is saying something. But at the same time, there was a part of me which, do you really want to go back and rewatch that? So I always choose other films over. But, over the last week actually, I rewatched Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I don't think it's a bad film. I definitely don't. But I don't get it. It's one of those films that I just don't get. And if you love Everything Everywhere All at Once, that is awesome. I love the fact that people love it. It's a weird idea, And I think, to be honest, it's quite a niche idea. Clearly, I'm wrong about that because it's had this global appeal, both critically and commercially. But when I initially saw it and when I was watching it again, I was thinking, this feels quite niche. I don't get it. Like, I think the opening of everything, I think the first half an hour of Everything Everywhere All at Once is great, and I think it ends very strongly. But I also think everything in the middle, no pun intended there, is just okay. It's like, it's fine. It feels like they had an idea for a film, or an idea for a short film, should I say, but they extended it into 2 hours and a half. I think it makes its point after an hour and a half. I don't think it should be as long as it is. Like, there's all this bit in the middle about how all the multiverses are going to end or something like that. And Evelyn, Michelle Yeoh's character, Michelle Yeoh, who is brilliant in the film, by the way, and Cave Kwan is brilliant in the film, but Cave Kwan's character, the husband, he's saying to Michelle Yeoh's character, the world's going to end and you've got to save it by going and reconciling with your daughter, and it's something like that. And all the performances are great, but the thing is, though, I just don't believe in the story. I don't believe in anything that's happening. It's very weird. The whole film is just weird. Like this whole stuff revolving around a bagel at one point. And I understand for a lot of people, they might go, that's genius. But I just I don't get it. It's got a great heart. I think the performance is great, like what he mentioned. I think the Daniels do a great job directing this film. The execution is quite something. The way they do all the multiverse sequences, it's far more entertaining than the multiverse sequences in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Meandering, as I call that film. And also, it's far superior than that film as well. And the music's great, and, the colour grading as well, the cinematography. Everything about the film is great, apart from the plot, which I just found really unengaging. I really didn't care too much about what was going on after a while. Like I said before, I think it ends strongly. I think the ending of the film is actually really, really good. And I think it begins really good as well. It actually reminded me a bit of Magnolia in the first half an hour, the way that the camera was moving about. And I loved all that. And the way it establishes the family and the family dynamic. I just thought that was probably the best part of the film. But then when you get into the multiverse stuff, I was like, great, do we really need this film? Can't we just cut this down to like the 90-minute mark and, maybe won't get nominated for Oscars, but to be honest, to be far more entertaining in my opinion. And like before, if you like Everything Everywhere All at Once, that's great, but I just don't get it. But saying that though, I wouldn't be against it winning all these big Oscars this year, because it's one of those films which I don't think usually comes across that many times. It doesn't usually, a film like this doesn't usually come out that often. And the fact that people are taken to this film and all its wacky ideas is saying a lot. And the fact that it's in the front one as well to win Best Picture, like I'll talk about a bit later again, and the fact that the performances, the main two in there, Kate Kwan and Michelle Yeoh, they're in the front running for the acting Oscars, the fact that it's apparently in the front running for the writing Oscar as well, is saying a lot. So I'm not opposed to it winning. I don't think it's a bad film. And if it wins Best Picture, that would be actually great. I don't hate the film. It's not like Tar, where if it wins Best Picture, I go, well, I just don't get films, I don't get what the Oscars see in Tar. It's not like Tar, though. If Everything Everywhere All at Once wins, and it's got a good chance of doing Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, and so on and so on and so on, brill. Because I actually much prefer Everything Everywhere All at Once than, say, Tar and Triangle of Sadness, which I'll also discuss about in this podcast today. So, although it's not my sort of film, that's it then. It's not my sort of film. I'm happy it wins Oscars because, clearly so much effort being put into that movie. And also, it's an independent film, and the fact that they pull off all the multiverse stuff really well is, cool. And it's got a lot of good moments in the multiverse stuff. Rakakuni, if you've seen the film, that's a really good idea, but also the joke goes on a bit too long, in my opinion. But, it's got some really good moments. I liked watching it. Well, actually, that's a bit of a lie. I liked watching parts of it, but, yeah. I just don't get it. But I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine if it wins Oscars this year. I mean, that's not what I would choose for the best picture Oscar and stuff like that, which I'll get onto a bit later. But I'm fine if it wins. I just wanted to talk about everything about it once, because I've been speaking about it a lot over the past couple of months. How I need to rewatch this film. I need to rewatch it because I've heard everyone say it's the best film of 2022, and I rewatched it. And sorry, I don't think, at least it's not in my top 10 of 2022, to be honest. It wouldn't be in my top 10. And it wasn't even in my top 5 when I did my top 5 of 2022 just before Christmas. So anyway, yeah, you get what I'm saying there. Everything I've once was for me, but I'm fine if it wins all these Oscars. But back onto the writing one, went a bit of a tangent there. I think Banshees of Inisherin is actually going to win the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Although it could very well be Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm fine if it is, by the way. Like I said, I'm fine if it is. But it's also, I think The Banshees of Inisherin is a far better written film. I think the way Martin McDonagh writes those characters, I think the way he writes the emotion, I think it's really believable. You believe in the relationship between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson's characters in those films. I just think it's beautifully written. I'd be really happy if it wins. And that would be the one I'd put my money on. I mean, I'm not a gambling person, but say I was, that would be the one I'd put my money on. But I think it's probably... actually, no, I do think it's going to go to Banshees of Inisherin. But it could easily go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think it's going to go to The Fabelmans. Although I think The Fabelmans is a very well-written film, I don't think it's going to go to The Fabelmans because they haven't won any Oscars. Not any Oscars, so yeah, of course they haven't won any Oscars. The Oscars haven't happened yet. But they haven't won any past awards, any past award ceremonies. Todd Field, as far as I remember, because I watched the BAFTAs and I did keep up to date on the Golden Globes, I even kept up to date on the Independent Spirit Awards and the SAG Awards as well, which I don't usually. But as far as I know, Todd Field hasn't won anything for Tar, so I don't see that happening. Also, I think Tar is a very dull film. I think it's badly written. I think it's very self-indulgent. It's almost 3 hours and it really tested my patience after a while. And Triangle of Sadness, I think, is a badly written film. I pointed out a plot hole about it in a couple of weeks ago on one of the podcasts I did. I reviewed it in the same week that I reviewed Cocaine Bear, by the way, that's funny. But I reviewed Triangle of Sadness and I pointed out a plot hole with it. I just whipped on a bit of a chair there. But, right, if you haven't seen the film, this won't mean a thing. But if you have seen the film, why, when they get to the island, why when the whole Lord of the Flies situation happens towards the end of Triangle of Sadness, and they get to the island and they fire off the flare, with the ending in mind, with the very end of the film in mind, how does no one see that? How does no one see that? But that won't mean a thing in case you haven't seen Triangle of Sadness. But if you have, let me know if you've got an explanation for that, because I genuinely would like to know. But there's this whole 20-minute sequence of Triangle of Sadness, which is just people throwing up on each other. And after about 5 minutes, I got the point. I got what the director was doing. But I don't want to watch people throwing up on each other and being sick on each other and swimming in each other's sick for 20 minutes. It might have been 20 minutes, but it felt like 20 minutes. I don't need to see it go on for that long. And the film is about 2 hours and a half. I mean, it's just under 2 hours and a half, but it's about 2 hours and a half. And it tested my patience, much like Tar, though I'd much rather watch Triangle of Sadness any day over Tar, simply because I thought Woody Harrelson was quite good in the film. But at the same time, though, Woody Harrelson was unnecessary in Triangle of Sadness. I also really liked Tara Dickens in that film, but again, I wasn't really that invested in his character. It's just all these different things. And pardon me there, but it's just all these different things with Tar as well, but Triangle of Sadness, which I really, really didn't like. If you like Triangle of Sadness, that's great, but I don't see it winning Best Original Screenplay. Man alive, I've been going on some tangents with the Best Original Screenplay category, but I suppose if I get my tangents out now, and when these films come up later, I won't go into much detail. Probably, you never know. it is me you are watching right now. I'm someone who rambles like crazy sometimes about a film. I mean, just look at my reviews in the Indiana Jones films, about half an hour long, and it's just me going, this part's fantastic, this part's fantastic. I ramble on and on and on sometimes. But anyway, back to the Oscar categories and my final predictions for this year's Academy Awards. So, Best Writing Adapted Screenplay. The nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. Again, great to see that in there. I know I said that before, but love that film. Living. Haven't seen Living, actually. That's the one I haven't seen. That's annoying. I was planning to watch it, actually, when it came out in the cinema, but things came up. Top Gun Maverick is nominated, and Women Talking. Women Talking has a chance of winning, actually. I think Women Talking has a good chance of winning. Well, not a good chance, but I think it's got a chance. I also think Top Gun Maverick, for some reason, I don't even know why it's nominated there, but for some reason, Top Gun Maverick has a chance. I also think as well, because of the amount of love that that film has got. But I think, and I'm pretty confident on this one, I think the winner of Best Adapted Screenplay is going to go to All Quiet on the Western Front. And All Quiet on the Western Front, I said this in my review of it that I did a couple of weeks ago on one of the podcasts. Check it out if you haven't already. But I said it's an exceptional film. It's very well written. The way he makes you care about these characters, even so the Germans, the way he makes you invest in what's going on, the emotionalness in the film. I don't know if that's a word, but the emotional feeling you have watching the film. That's what I'm trying to say there. The screenplays by Edward Berger and Leslie Patterson and Ian Stockwell. They all did a great job with the screenplay because it's so well written. Like, it's so well written because you instantly care about all the characters. You instantly care about all these young boys going out onto the Western Front as soon as you meet them in the film. It is a superb film and also very realistic, and I think a lot of that is also down to the way it's written. So yeah, I think Best Adapted Screenplay is gonna go to All Quiet on the Western Front. Although Women Talking could get it and Top Gun Maverick could as well. I mean, I don't understand why. I enjoyed Top Gun Maverick. I have nothing against it. I enjoyed it, but I just don't think it's Oscar worthy, to be honest. I know that makes me sound a bit pretentious, but I'm not pretentious. I don't like Tar, and I think Tar's pretentious. And I'm someone who likes a big blockbuster sort of cinema. I mean, look, I was gonna go watch Scream 6 today. That's a big blockbuster. I was gonna go, next week I'm watching Shazam 2. I love the big blockbusters, but Top Gun Maverick, although I enjoyed it, I just don't think it's Oscar. Yeah, I don't think it should be considered for the Oscars, but that's just me. But yeah, like I said before, I think the Best Writing Adapted Screenplay Oscar will go to All Quiet on the Western Front. Visual effects, the nominations are All Quiet on the Western Front, again, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick, it had some very good visual effects. Black Panther, I actually thought the visual effects were not the best in Black Panther. I thought they were good, probably the best Marvel visual effects I've seen in a while, and that's including Ant-Man as well, which only came out a couple of weeks ago. But I didn't think they were brilliant still, so I don't know if they should be nominated, but yeah, that's just me. The Batman, brilliant visual effects, because I didn't even know these visual effects of the Batman the first time I watched it. And then All Quiet on the Western Front, again, I didn't even know they used visual effects in that film. I think the best visual effects in the cinema are visual effects which are seamless. You don't actually know they've used visual effects in a film. You're like, what was it? There was one film where I heard they used visual effects. I was like, what? It might have been Batman, actually, but I've got a feeling it was another one that they used visual effects in. And I was like, how do they use visual effects in that? You wouldn't be able to tell. Can't remember what it was now, but yeah, I think the best visual effects films, the best visual effects in cinema, that's what I'm saying, are visual effects which are seamless, which you don't actually see, and which don't feel like visual effects when you're watching it. And I think the Batman and not Top Gun, sorry, Top Gun's visual effects are very good, by the way, but at times I was like, that's a visual effect, but also All Quiet on Western Front, the visual effects in that are seamless as well. But the winner of the visual effects category, and I'd be shocked if it's otherwise, but the winner will be Avatar: The Way of Water. Say what about Avatar: The Way of Water? I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I love that film, but I know my brother, I went to go and see the film with my brother. He wasn't a big fan of it. That's fine. All films are subjective. And, the film wasn't for everybody. That's okay. But the visual effects, you cannot deny, are outstanding outstanding. It made me believe in Pandora. It made me believe in the Na'vi and the underwater Na'vi that you meet in that film. It made me believe in all that sort of stuff, even though it's completely fake. And that's saying a lot. I mean, James Cameron, who obviously directed Avatar: The Way of Water, is famous with visual effects, whether it's with Terminator, whether it's with the Aliens, whether it's with Terminator 2, whether it's with The Abyss, whether it's with Titanic, and whether it's with the first Avatar. No, I think the first Avatar is a good film, but one of my problems with the first Avatar is that I don't believe in the characters too much, because I was like, yeah, that does all like visual effects sometimes. I mean, I do think the visual effects in Avatar were very groundbreaking of 2009 when the film came out, but, you know, you watch it now, I was like, yeah, that's clearly visual effects, you know. And they did update it, actually. When I went to go and see it in the cinema, you know, I went to see it in the cinema before Avatar 2 came out. I was like, okay, some of it's updated and some of it looks more real, but at times it does like a video game as well, like cutscenes from a video game. But then with Avatar: The Way of Water, I couldn't believe it. I was watching and go, oh my God, I'm believing all of this. I believe in everything. That's one of the reasons I absolutely adored Avatar: The Way of Water. I mean, it's also got a very human story. It's quite emotional. And I thought it's a blockbuster in every sense of the word. I love how epic and exciting it felt as well. But also, all that would have been completely unnecessary. You know, all that wouldn't have happened. That's what I'm trying to say. All that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the visual effects, which was so damn good. So say what you will about Avatar: The Way of Water. Hate it, love it, want to marry it, whatever. You know, the visual effects in that film are superb. And if it doesn't win the best Oscar for visual effects, I don't understand visual effects. Because I said before, visual effects should be seamless. And when I'm watching Avatar: The Way of Water, they were seamless. I felt like I was inside this world. There's a couple of times I had to remind myself, oh my God, these are actually visual effects, because I was so, you know, immersed into the world and so invested in what was going on, even though it was completely fake. And so I do think that Avatar: The Way of Water is going to get best visual effects, and I think deservedly so. Let's move on to another category, because I went on a bit there again. I'm not going to talk about best shot from scene. Let's move there. Best picture. Should we get into it now, or should we save this one for a bit later? You know what? Let's get into it now. And let's do the acting categories a bit later. I did best picture last time on my last podcast. I'm going to do it now on this one. So, the best picture nominations for this year's Academy Awards are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water. I love the film, but I find that quite funny because I know a lot of people who don't love the film and are kind of amazed that it got in there. At least I've seen a lot of people online who have been very surprised by the nomination. The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, yes, my favourite film of last year. Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, which I don't get for being Best Picture worthy. Again, an enjoyable film, just Best Picture worthy? Really? Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking. Women Talking has not got any buzz around it whatsoever, and I really liked that film. Again, I reviewed it a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't expect to get much from that film. It didn't really look like my sort of film, but actually I was riveted throughout most of that film. I was invested in the characters, invested in their situation. And even so, you know, it's a film which does what it says on the tin. It's mostly just women talking. Pardon me there. It was done in such a way that it felt cinematic, and also it was at times very emotional. So I really liked that film, and I'm a bit surprised it got no buzz surrounding it. It's not going to win Best Picture, but I just want to talk about it there. Triangle of Sadness doesn't have a chance, in my opinion. There's been some articles about why Triangle of Sadness should win Best Picture. Really? I don't think it has a chance either, because it didn't win anything at the Golden Globes, nor at the BAFTAs. So yeah, I don't think it has a chance, to be honest, at winning Best Picture. I mean, it might, but I'd be shocked. I'd be flabbergasted even. Top Gun Maverick, this actually has a chance, and I think the reason it has a chance is because Top Gun Maverick did bring a lot of people back to the cinema. You know, Avatar did that as well, but Top Gun did it beforehand. Top Gun did it in the summer, Avatar did it at Christmas. You know, Avatar is still making money now, which is quite incredible. But Top Gun Maverick, you know, loads of people went out to cinema to see that. The only reason I did because so many people were raving about it. I wasn't planning to watch Top Gun Maverick. It didn't look like my sort of film. But then I heard all these people raving about it. I saw the box office figures was getting. I was like, okay, I'm going to go and watch this film now. And, you know, I found it enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it. It was entertaining. But at the same time, though, that's the reason, it's been nominated for Best Picture, because it's brought all these people back to cinemas. And also, brought these people back to cinemas. And also, it's been critically very well received. And actually, it's a good, considering it's like 30 years in the making, that sequel, I think it actually worked out really well. And I do actually think it has a chance of winning Best Picture. Now, do I think it will? No. But I do think it's a bit of a dark horse. Because, it's a movie which, for the most part, everybody loves. I know one person who doesn't. It's quite funny that he doesn't, because I don't think he really got it. And he said it was a complicated film, but I don't really get how it's complicated. But most people, about 95% of the world, to be honest, seem to love Top Gun Maverick. So if it wins Best Picture, I can see that happening as well, simply because it was commercially popular, and the Oscars want to become more famous again. The viewing figures on the Oscars for the past couple of years haven't been the best. It's been diminishing over time. And if you want to make the Oscars popular, why not give a popular film Best Picture? I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I don't think it will happen, but don't discount it. I don't think you should discount Top Gun Maverick. Could I be waking up tomorrow morning going, Top Gun Maverick bloody won Best Picture? And it could be in that same sort of categories, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and Titanic, films which, people didn't really expect to win Best Picture, or didn't think they ever would, but then they ended up winning Best Picture. I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Bear in mind what happened to the last Oscars. Not in terms of who won, but in terms of the slappening, Anything can happen. Fabelmans, which has been nominated, I think has a chance as well. Simply because it's directed by Steven Spielberg, and the Academy likes Steven Spielberg. Only one of his films has won Best Picture in the past, and that was Schindler's List. Saving Private Ryan did get nominated, but for some reason, Steven Spielberg won Best Director for Saving Private Ryan, but that film didn't win Best Picture, which still doesn't make any sense in my opinion. Shakespeare in Love, when I'm seeing Shakespeare in Love, that is a great good film, but it doesn't make any sense that he wins Best Director but not Best Picture. It's like when Ben Affleck, he didn't get nominated for Best Director for Argo, but then Argo wins Best Picture. It doesn't make sense, that. So, yeah, the Fabelmans, I went on a bit of a tangent again there, but the Fabelmans, I could see winning Best Picture. Do I think it will? No. I think the next film that I'm going to talk about will win Best Picture. But the thing is, though, I do think the Fabelmans has a chance, because, Hollywood like films about Hollywood. And in the end, the Fabelmans is kind of about that. I mean, it's not, but it also is in the end. What I mean by that is, like, by the end of that film, it's, I don't want to go into spoilers, but Spielberg literally goes into Hollywood. So, I could see Fabelmans winning Best Picture. I'd be happy if it does, because I loved it. I thought it was an incredible film. I know not everyone's taken to it, but I really, really, really liked it. I really loved it, in fact. So, yeah, I'd be happy with one Best Picture. It might win Best Picture, and I think people would be disappointed if it did. I wouldn't, personally, but I think some people would be. But I don't think it will. Because I think Everything Everywhere All at Once will. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, and this is a huge surprise in my opinion, because I never even thought I'd get nominated, but there you go. I think it's going to win Best Picture, because it's just got so much buzz behind it, and it seems to be the favourite at the moment, and I think that's kind of cool, like I said already. I'm happy that this film's got so much love, and if it wins Best Picture, that's great. I would love... I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I actually wouldn't mind Everything Everywhere All at Once. Actually, I'd be happy with Everything Everywhere All at Once winning over the Fabelmans. And I love the Fabelmans. And I don't really get Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I can't really explain my reasoning behind that. But I think it's just because it's unusual. And the Fabelmans, although I loved it to pieces, we've seen variations of that film in the past. And I don't think we've seen variations of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think what I'm trying to say is quite a unique film. And I don't think the Daniels, although I could be wrong, maybe 5 years' time, they're nominated for another Best Director and Best Picture Oscar with the next film. but I don't think they're going to get nominated much in the near distant future. And I think this is their only chance to actually win Best Picture, and I think it has a legitimate chance of winning. I do think it's actually going to win. I think that's when I'd put money on. Again, I'm not a gambler, I'm not a bettor, but that's when I put money on. It could be The Fabelmans and it could be Top Gun Maverick. But let's look at these ones. It's not going to be Elvis. I love Elvis. It was my favourite film of last year. But it's not going to be Elvis because that film was not for everyone. I loved it. I've seen it about 6 times. I've watched it, a couple of weeks ago, and I was just watching it again going, this is just so fucking fantastic. But I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. Much to my disappointment. Love that film to pieces. Banshees of Inisherin has a chance as well, actually. Yeah, it does. That's one I forgot about. I think it has a chance. The thing is with this year's Oscars, even though Everything Everyone Wants is the front runner to win all the big awards, it's also one of those Oscars where it could go any way. It could go in the Fabelmans' favour. It could go in Everything Everyone Wants' favour, or it could go in the favour of Banshees of Inisherin. Simply because if Mike McDonald wins Best Screenplay, and if Colin Farrell wins Best Actor, and if Brendan Gleeson wins Best Supporting Actor, which could happen, I don't think that's impossible. I don't think it's likely, but I don't think it's impossible, which I'll talk about in the Best Supporting Actor category. Then I think there's a really good chance of Banshees of Inisherin wins Best Picture. Now, do I think it will? No. I still think it's going to go to Everything Everywhere at Once. But I also think it's a possibility. That's why I'm really excited for this year's Oscars, because nothing is certain. Nothing is certain about who's going to win, who's not, who might. Okay, he might, but I don't know. Like last year, or was it the year beforehand? I think everyone was kind of thinking, 2019, that's when it was. Everyone was kind of like, oh yeah, it's going to either be Parasite or 917. Both great movies, by the way, but there wasn't much anticipation with some of the other ones. And then in 2020, everyone kind of thought it was going to be Nomadland. Again, a great film. And in 2021, what film won in 2021? I've forgotten already. That's how memorable the film was. But this year, it's between 3 films, in my opinion, and Top Gun Maverick has a chance as well. So, yeah, I think it's a bit more exciting about who can win Best Picture, because I don't think it's certain. I think I just got reminded that Banshees of Inisherin was nominated, because I was like, wow, I forgot that's in the running. It's got a legitimate chance of winning. Avatar: The Way of Water has no chance. Love the film, but I also know some people don't. If Avatar: The Way of Water wins, I'm going to throw a parade. I'm going to throw a parade, and I'm going to stand up and sing my favourite songs by Elvis, the Beatles. It's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to happen. That's a dream, Avatar: The Way of Water winning. It's not even a dream, actually. I don't want it to win. I loved Avatar: The Way of Water. But I also think that, Fabelmans is a better film. I also think Banshees of Inisherin is a better film. Love Avatar: The Way of Water. I think it's actually probably more enjoyable to watching than the Banshees. Hot take there. But I think the Banshees is a better film overall. And I think that Fabelmans is a better film as well. So I don't think Avatar: The Way of Water got a chance, but I'm happy to see it got nominated, because it annoys those haters with Avatar, and I love the film. All Quiet on the Western Front, I also don't think that's out of the question. That's the thing, again. I'm reading through these, and although I don't think Elvis has a chance, although I don't think Tar is going to win either, because I don't think Tar's really won anything. Although I don't think Triangle of Sadness or Women Talking are going to win either. Fabelmans has a chance of winning Best Picture. So does Top Gun Maverick. So does Banshees of Inisherin. And so does... so does All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't think it will, but it's got more of a chance, in my opinion, than Top Gun Maverick. I think it's got more of a chance to Top Gun Maverick, because I think it's a better film, quite frankly. But also, I can see it winning. I can see it being another year where kind of like Parasite, where the international film wins all the awards. Like, All Quiet on the Western Front is going to win Best International Feature, because it's the only film out of the Best International Feature category which has been nominated for Best Picture. So a little bit of a clue there as to what's going to win Best International Film. But it could also win Best Picture. It could. I'm not saying it will. I don't think it will. I still think it's going to go through Everything Everywhere All at Once. But All Quiet on the Western Front's got a chance. Again, it's like a 5-way Oscars this year. It's great. I'm excited for it. This is the first time in a while that I've actually been excited to see who's going to win the Oscars. I mean, I've been looking forward to it the past couple of years, but like I was looking forward to it in the 917 and Parasite, and I was like, oh, Parasite one, I was quite interested in that, but because everyone thought 917 was going to win, but you know, even that, it was between those two, really, and so yeah, I'm excited. There's a chance of either of those 5 films winning, and you know, I'd be happy with any of those 5 films, which is saying something as well, because you know, sometimes in the past I watch the Oscars and like, I don't really want that film to win, and then I end up winning. That's what it was last year. Coda won. I haven't even seen Coda, and I don't plan to, by the way. But that ended up winning Best Picture, and you know, who had seen Coda? Yeah, it might be a great film, but you just get the point I'm making. I didn't expect it to win Best Picture, and it did. But anyway, let's go on to Best Original Score, shall we? Nominated Volker Bertletterman, might pronounce that person's name, for All Quiet on the Western Front. Justin Hurwitz for Babylon. Carter Burwell for The Banshees of Inisherin. Son Lux for Everything Everywhere All at Once, might pronounce that person's name, I'm going to apologize if I am. And John Williams, The Fablemans. I think the Fableman score is very emotional just to listen to. I almost tear up just listening to it. I listened to it this morning and I was almost in tears. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. But I'm glad to see that John Williams got nominated because he's still cracking out amazing scores. I listen to the Fableman soundtrack now about 50 times and it's just so emotional to listen to. I have to 5 minutes after I listen to it because I'm like, God, he pulls on those heartstrings there. But I don't think it's going to win Best Score. Or it could. You never know. If Fableman sweeps, it could. Everything Everywhere All at Once, I don't think is going to win score. I don't think Carter Burwell is going to win it for Banshees of Inisherin. I think the winner is going to be Justin Hurwitz of Babylon. Although, it could also be Volker Bertelmann. Again, I might pronounce that person's name wrong. For All Quiet on the Western Front. I watched All Quiet on the Western Front a couple of weeks ago now, and the score was one of the things which really, I was about to say really caught my eye. That doesn't make any sense there. But one of the things that really stood out to me. You know what I mean? You know, I was watching and I was going, oh, this is a very unusual score for this type of film. Normally expect this big orchestral score, but actually a lot of it sounded synthesized, but it still worked. It still worked really, really well. And a lot of it sounded electronic, but again, it worked. And I think it was actually very effective. And so I think it's between Justin Hurwitz of Babylon and Volker Bertelmann, again, I might pronounce the person's name wrong, for All Quiet on the Western Front. But my money would be on Babylon. My money would be on Justin Hurwitz's score for Babylon. But I do think it could also be All Quiet on the Western Front, which wins Best Original Score. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's going to be Babylon. So let's get on to Best Directing now. So nominees are Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. Now let's get these ones off the bat. I don't think Todd Field has a chance. I also don't think Ruben Östlund has a chance because they haven't won anything else, and I also haven't heard much buzz around those films for this year's Oscars. And also, I don't think those films are particularly good. And if either of those films win, I'm going to become uninvested and unengaged in this year's Oscars because I'll be like, I don't get it. Is there something in Tar that I missed? I think Tar's a very well made film, but I also think it's very self-indulgent. And I don't get it, to be honest. But it could, you know, I think I was about to say it could be Todd Field. It's not going to be Todd Field. Of course it's not going to be Todd Field. That's what I've been saying for the past couple of seconds there. Heads all over the place. But Ruben Östlund, I don't think he's got a chance either for Triangle of Sadness. That film won the Palme d'Or, by the way, at Cannes this year, which I don't get at all. And then I heard that Ruben Östlund, the director of Triangle of Sadness, you know, which won the Palme d'Or, is that Ruben Östlund, you know, he's got some deal with Cannes now, and I'm like, oh, that's why it won best. That's why it won Palme d'Or, because I just feel like there's something going on behind the scenes there. Because I don't get Triangle of Sadness. I don't get It's apparent genius. I think it's a really. I don't think it's a really bad film, but it's rubbish in my opinion. I didn't say that in my review. I think I said it was fine, but it's one of those films which I'd really be happy if I never, ever, ever saw again. But yeah, I don't think Ruben Austin's got a chance. Although I think that the ones which do, I think the three-way tie in this one, I think the three-way race is between Mike McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans. Now, I think Martin McDonagh and Steven Spielberg have very good chances. I think it's going to go to the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And again, I'm fine about that. I don't love Everything Everywhere All at Once. In fact, I don't really like it, to be honest. I didn't get it, like I said before. But the thing is, it is a well-made film. I even said this when I was, doing my re-review of it, my revised review a couple of minutes ago, like 10 minutes ago on this podcast. I don't know how long it's been going on for. Oh, apparently it's been going on for 40 minutes or so. So, that's cool. I really ramble on, don't I? But anyway, yes. Even though I don't love Everything Everywhere All at Once, not mostly because of the story, I do think it's a really well-executed film. I think the directing is top-notch. So I'm absolutely fine with the Daniels winning for Best Director. I would personally give it to... You know what I'm going to say? I don't care what anyone says. I would personally give this one to Steven Spielberg. I think The Fablemans is, his best film since maybe Saving Private Ryan, and that's not to discount Catch Me If You Can. Actually, Catch Me If You Can is one of my favourite films. So it's his best film in 20 years. Catch Me If You Can was 2002. Fablemans was 2022. Well, it came out in this country in 23, but it first came out in the US in 22. So I do think it's his best film in all that time. And that's not to say his other films are bad. That's not to say films like Minority Report, The Terminal, War of the Worlds, Munich, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Skull, but that kind of is. But War Horse, although I don't really like War Horse, Tintin, what the other ones he directed, Bridge of Spies, BFG, The Post, Ready Player One, and his version of West Side Story. That's not to say those films are bad. I just think The Fablemans is superior. So I would give it to Steven Spielberg, but I think it's going to go to the Daniels. But I'd also be very happy if Mike McDonagh won for The Banshees of Inisherin. Again, if The Banshees of Inisherin sweeps, this could happen. Mike McDonagh could win Best Director. It's a three-way race, really, between those three. I think for most of the Oscars. I'm a bit surprised that the guy who directed... he's not here. I'm a bit surprised that the guy who directed All Quiet on the Western Front didn't get nominated. Because that, again, superbly made film. But there you go. But yeah, I do think... I think it's going to be the Daniels. Although... I would say I would give it to Spielberg, and I do think Spielberg has a chance. I also think Mike McDonagh has a chance, but I know I said before, I'm going to say again, I think the Daniels are the ones which are going to win. Best Cinematography, All Quiet on the Western Front is nominated, so is Elvis, Empire Light and Tar, and Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. I haven't seen Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, although I've seen Elvis, Empire Light, Tar, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Empire of Light, didn't really like that film, but it had superb cinematography. Watch Deakins, what do you expect? Tar, very well shot film, didn't really like it whatsoever, but I did like the cinematography. I love the way it was shot. I think that was probably the most interesting part of the film. That and Cate Blanchett's performance, which I'll talk about a bit later. Elvis, also loved the way it looked. It looked expensive, looked exciting, just in the cinematography. Beautifully looking film. But I think it's going to go to All Quiet on the Western Front, because I'm pretty sure the guy who did cinematography All Quiet on the Western Front won the BAFTA as well. By the way, this year's BAFTAs were awful. I love Richard E. Grant, but he could not host to save his life. Neither can Alison Hammond with that sort of crowd. And again, Alison Hammond I really enjoy on This Morning, but don't think it really worked with her as well. And I just thought the BAFTAs were kind of painful to watch. I will not be watching the BAFTAs next year, but the cinematography, the guy who did cinematography All Quiet on the Western Front, he won the best BAFTA for that. So the best BAFTA, he won the BAFTA for it. So I think he's going to win the Oscar. Although it could be Empire of Light because of Roger Deakins, and it could also be Tar. But I think it's most likely going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm pretty confident in that one. Okay, let's go up a bit here. Best Animated Feature. Out of this, I've only seen Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Puss in Boots' Last Wish is so much fun, and is absolutely wonderful and a true delight to watch, and that's come from someone who is not the target audience for that sort of film, but I loved it. But I think it's going to go to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, because Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won the Golden Globe, it won the BAFTA, and it's going to win the Oscar. And it's Guillermo del Toro, so I'm happy about that. I love Guillermo del Toro, you know, Pan's Labyrinth. Also, what's the other one he did? Oh, what's the one I just watched recently? Kronos, I think that's the one I watched recently. Kronos, which I think that was his first feature film, which is great. Hellboy is enjoyable. His version of Hellboy from 2006. I haven't seen the sequel, which I directed as well, but the first one I have seen, and that's enjoyable. Pacific Rim, not my sort of film, but I didn't mind watching it. But then also, what's the other film he directed as well, which I thought was great? That's it. I know I've got the post of the film in my head, but I just don't know what it's called. Nightmare Alley. I thought Nightmare Alley was a great film and very underrated. And so, yeah, I'd be happy if Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio gets the win, because I think it's a great film. I reviewed it. That was one of the first things I reviewed coming back after Christmas. I watched it over the Christmas period, and it's a kids' film about death, and it's really, really good. I personally think Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is more enjoyable, but I do think that Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is the better film, and I do think that's the film which is going to win Best Animated Feature at this year's Oscars. Let's go on to Actress in a Supporting Role. So the nominations are Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Hong Shao for The Whale, Kerry Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu, that is how I pronounce her name because that's how they pronounced it at the SAG Awards, for Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. Now, when I did my first podcast on the Oscars, I was sure I was going to go, yes, it's going to be Angela Bassett who wins for Best Supporting Actress at this year's Academy Awards. Mark my words. I'm not so sure anymore. I still think she's in the running, but she didn't win at the SAG Awards. She didn't win at the BAFTAs, and there's another awards as well which she didn't win at. She hasn't. I think she won the Golden Globe. I think she did, but she hasn't been winning at all the ceremonies. And I do think this is a bit of a gamble, this category, because I did not think Jamie Lee Curtis had a chance. But then she won the SAG Award. And the SAG Awards are normally an indication, they have been in the past, about who's going to win in the acting categories. And Jamie Lee Curtis won. And I think that's saying something. I think Jamie Lee Curtis, which astounds me, by the way, because I love Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She's playing a very silly character, but I didn't think she had a chance. But now she's in the running, and I do think she has a legitimate chance of winning Best Supporting Actress. Now, I don't think Hong Shao for The Whale should be nominated. I think Hong Shao was good in The Whale, but not really giving an Oscar performance. I think she's one of the best parts of The Whale, to be honest, but that's not saying much. And I also don't think Stephanie Hsu has got a chance at Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think it's great she's been nominated because she's good in that film, but, you know, I think it's more likely that Jamie Lee Curtis wins it for that film for Best Supporting Actress. But I think, and I could be wrong, I could be eating my words by tomorrow morning, but I think it's going to go to Kerry Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, because Kerry Condon won at the BAFTAs, and even though Jamie Lee Curtis won at the SAG Awards, I think that Kerry Condon just gives a better performance. I think her performance in The Banshees of Inisherin is more subtle, it's more... It's the heart of the film, because even so you got heart going on with Brendan Gleeson's character and Colin Farrell's character in that film, the underlying heart, the thing which keeps it going and doesn't make the falling out between the main two characters just annoying after a while, is her. She keeps the film. She doesn't keep it grounded. That's not what I'm looking for. But she keeps the film emotional. She makes it emotional. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Not really sure what I'm trying to say, but I think what I'm trying to say is I think the film would be very, very different if she wasn't in it. Like, I think the film would have a very different tone, but the fact that she is in there, and the way her storyline goes in that film, and the way her character is written, I think is superb, and I think Kerry Condon plays her fantastically. And I think it was a different actress playing that character, it could have been less subtle and less effective. So I would give it to Kerry Condon, and I think that's who's going to win. But it could easily be Angela Bassett, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it could also be Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And if it's Jamie Lee Curtis, that's great. If it's Angela Bassett, that's great as well. I thought Black Panther, Wakanda Forever was fine. I thought it was okay. I didn't dislike watching it, but she was probably one of the best parts of that film. So I'll be fine with that as well. But I do think it's going to go to Kay Con for the Banshee in the show, because I do think that's, out of those performances nominated, the most effective and the most subtle and the best performance. That's what I think anyway. Best Actress in a Leading Role, the nominations are Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Angela Riseborough for To Leslie. I haven't seen that film, and I know that one's got a lot of controversy. I personally have nothing to say on that matter, so I'm not going to go into that. Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Tia Michelle was nominated there, I didn't even realise. I haven't seen Blonde, and I don't intend to watch Blonde. I've heard some very controversial things about Blonde. I've seen clips of Ana de Armas in Blonde, and I do think she's very good. But the film, I've heard things that it does, and I've heard things that are in Blonde, and I understand why they're in there. I'm not against them being in there, but it's just not a film that I really want to watch that sort of stuff happen. If you want to know what I mean, look it up. But I think that the main two in this category, again, for a while I thought it was going to be Cate Blanchett who wins Best Actress in this one, but I also think Michelle Yeoh's got a legitimate chance. She won the SAG Award. I think that says something. Like Cate Blanchett, did she win the Golden Globe? I can't remember actually. Oh, she did win the Golden Globe, but she wasn't at the Golden Globes. She was at the premiere for Tar in the UK at the time when she won. But Michelle Yeoh also won at the Golden Globes because of the categories there. But Cate Blanchett did win the BAFTA for Best Actress. But then, throw things in a curveball, Michelle Yeoh wins Best Actress at the SAG Awards. And I think that's changed things up a bit. And to be honest, I love Cate Blanchett, and I think she gives a superb performance in Tar. I think she's by far the best thing about Tar. I feel like a title, again, I don't really get that title. Tar? It's like, anyway. Yeah, I think she's the best thing of Tar. But I would give it to Michelle Yeoh. Because I think this is Michelle Yeoh's only chance. I mean, I might be wrong. I might be. And I'd be happy if I was wrong. But you know what Hollywood's like. It's often very racist. And so I don't think Michelle Yeoh has another chance. And I do think she's brilliant at Everything Everywhere All at Once. Again, probably one of the best parts of that film. So, I really want it to be Michelle Yeoh, to be honest. I think Cate Blanchett is great. But the thing is about Cate Blanchett as well, she's only won 2 Oscars. Did she need a third? I mean, that's me being a bit of a hypocrite there, because I also said I think Steven Spielberg should win the Best Director an Oscar, and he's already won 2. So, that's me being a bit hypocritical. But at the same time, Michelle Yeoh, she's brilliant, I think, everyone at once. She both gives a subtle but also outlandish sort of performance, and I think she does it great. And I kind of wanted to win it because you'd see how much it means to her. And not that it wouldn't mean too much to Cate Blanchett. I'm not saying that. I dare say it flipping would. But I also think it's going to mean more to Michelle Yeoh, because she hasn't won an Oscar before. And if I was a betting man, I'd bet it's going to be Michelle Yeoh. But it could easily be Cate Blanchett. And that's absolutely fine as well, in my opinion. Now, last 2 categories here. I've been going on for way too long. Have I hit the hour mark yet? No, but I'm going to hit the hour mark very shortly. Okay, Best Actor in a Supporting Role. We have the nominations. Brendan Gleeson for The Banshee of Inisherin. Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway. A film I haven't seen, so don't have anything to say about that. Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, which astounds me, by the way. Barry Keoghan for The Banshee of Inisherin. And Ke-Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, the reason Judd Hirsch's nomination is really surprising is because he's only in The Fabelmans. He plays the crazy uncle, and he's only in it for 3 minutes. Now, the 3 minutes he's in is very good, but it's only 3 minutes. It feels like 3 minutes. Anyway, it may even be less, to be honest. So, that just really surprised me. He gives a good performance, don't get me wrong, but, he's not in it much. So, a bit surprised by that one. Barry Keoghan, he did win the BAFTA. I don't think he's got a chance of winning the best. I don't think he's got a chance of winning the Oscar, though. He didn't win the SAG Awards, and I like that he won the BAFTA because he seemed genuinely surprised by that. But I don't think he's going to win. But, you never know. Weird things have happened. There's a chance. I think it's a minute chance, but you never know. Brendan Gleeson for the Banshee of Inisherin, though, I think he has a chance. I think if the Banshee of Inisherin sweeps, I think if Matt McDonagh wins Best Screenplay, Best Directing, and if the film wins Best Picture, Brendan Gleeson definitely has a chance of winning, Best Supporting Actor. I don't think it's a strong chance, but if all that stuff happens with Banshee of Inisherin, which again, I don't think there's a strong chance of that happening, but if it does, theoretically, Brendan Gleeson could win Best Supporting Actor. But it's going to be Ke-Huy Quan. It's going to be Ke-Huy Quan. He won the Golden Globe. He won the SAG Award. Now, he didn't win the BAFTA because, like I mentioned already, Barry Keoghan did. But he's a front runner. And Ke-Huy Quan's great. I loved him ever since I saw him in Short Round as Temple of Doom. I loved him ever since I saw him as Short Round in Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, and also as Data in the Goonies. And apparently, by the way, the one who plays what's his name now? Anyway, look it up if you don't know already. But one of the cast members of Goonies is actually his manager, which is pretty cool. I forgot what it is now. It's gonna bug me if I don't remember. Just give me a sec here. Goonies characters. Chuck! That's his name. Is it Chuck and Goonies? It hasn't come up yet. Yeah, Chunk. Chunk. Yeah, the one who plays Chunk is actually Ke-Huy Quan's manager in real life. So Data and Chunk kept in touch. But yeah, Ke-Huy Quan, every single time he wins an award, he always makes me cry. Or almost makes me cry anyway. Like the way he just speaks about his experience in Hollywood, how he was shut down for a lot of years, how, Crazy Rich Asians came out, that offered him kind of a pathway. He thought it offered him a pathway to get him back into films. This film comes along, Everything Everywhere All at Once, changes his life. Look, he's getting nominations left, right and centre. The film becomes huge. He's getting more roles. He's meant to be in Loki Series 2. I think he's also got some other film in the works right now. I think he just did another thing with Michelle Yeoh as well. So yeah, the fact that this film has changed your life so much, I would love it if he wins an Academy Award. Also, I follow him on Instagram. I saw his Instagram posts anyway. I see his Instagram posts anyway. And on the post where he talks about being nominated for an Oscar, he's like, I can't believe being nominated. I'm jumping up and down. I just love it. I love it. There's still that bit of Short Round in him. There's a bit of Short Round in him still. So I love seeing all the images as well of him and Spielberg. Because even so, Spielberg talks about the fact that he hates Temple of Doom. He thinks it's the worst film or something like that. He thinks it's got none of him in there. He thinks it's one of his worst films, and he's really annoyed with the fact that he made it. In fact, he actually made Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade as an apology for Temple of Doom. Very glad he did, by the way, because Last Crusade is my all-time favourite film. But the thing is with Temple of Doom, even so he doesn't talk about that film fondly, he always talked about the fact that he kept in touch with Ke-Huy Quan, who played Short Round. And even you see him at all these award ceremonies and all these award sort of stuff. It's like the Oscars dinner as well. Because Spielberg's been nominated for Fabelmans, they've seen each other quite a lot again. And it just seeing those images like, they kept in touch and they're still good friends, it looks like. And it also gives me a bit of hope that we might see Ke-Huy Quan have a cameo as Short Round in the new Indiana Jones. Not that that's relevant whatsoever, but, looking forward to that movie very much. Only a couple of months away now. But, back on to what I was saying, I think Ke-Huy Quan is going to win the Best Supporting Actor Oscar. And you know what? I'll be really happy about that. The best acting category, the best actor in a leading role, the nominations are Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshee of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun. I haven't seen After Sun, so I'm not going to comment on that, and Bill Nye for Living. I haven't seen Living, so I'm not going to comment on that either. But Austin Butler is superb in Elvis. Colin Farrell is brilliant in The Banshee of Inisherin. Brendan Fraser in The Well isn't great, in my opinion. I liked him in that film. He was good. But I don't think he was Oscar-worthy. I think it was a very showy performance. I even said it to my review of The Well. I know that review got a bunch of dislikes, but, I was just giving my opinion. I felt like it was just Brendan Fraser in a fat suit for most of the film. and gives a good performance, but it's not a performance which really made me go, wow, like Colin Farrell and like Austin Butler. I mean, I know Austin Butler's a very showy performance as well, but it's a physical performance, like Kate Blanchett with Ty. It's a physical performance. They're not just playing that character, they're performing that character. And I think, I think it's very easy to do an impression of Elvis. And what Austin Butler does is he doesn't do an impression though. He gets underneath the Elvis character that he plays in Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, and he plays it so fucking well. Like, he really, really does. And so, I think out of these three, which seem to be the front runners, I think the winner is going to be, and I'm actually weighing this now. I'm just looking at 3 names like it's a little, I'm just flicking between these 3 names going, who's it going to be, who's it going to be, who's it going to be? I think it's going to be Brendan Fraser for the win. And I'm okay about that. Even so I don't think it's a brilliant performance, it's much like Hey Kwan, when you're hearing their story and hearing what they've been through and hearing how Hollywood kind of ditched on them and hearing how they come back into the limelight and they come back now and they're being nominated and stuff like that. They're getting more job offers and they're talking about doing more sort of films. So, that's the thing with Brendan Fraser. I didn't love his performance in The Whale, but I love him. He was a huge part of my childhood. The Mummy, which he started, and The Mummy Returns, which he also started, used to be on the TV every single Saturday on ITV1 in my house. And so I love him in those films so much. And those films are a huge part of my childhood. And I love him, hearing his story is really emotional as well. So I really think if he wins, that's absolutely fine. Again, ripping apart pieces of my chair there. Probably not the best thing to do, but oh well. But anyway, back on to what I was saying. Yeah, I think Brendan Fraser's going to win it. But I do think Colin Farrell has a chance. Colin Farrell, although he won at the Golden Globes, hasn't won at the BAFTAs and he didn't win at the SAG Awards. Brendan Fraser won at the SAG Awards. A little bit of an indication there. But I do think Colin Farrell has a chance as well. Again, if Banshee sweeps, like I said before, and it could sweep, I think there's a chance it could sweep. I think, not Austin Butler, back to Austin Butler. Imagine Austin Butler and Banshee finish out doing that Elvis performance, by the way. That'd be a very different film. But I think it's going to be Colin Farrell. And again, I'll be happy with that. And if it's Austin Butler as well, who has won, he won the Golden Globes and he won the BAFTA for it, which is a huge surprise. A lot of people thought at the BAFTAs that Colin Farrell was going to win Best Actor because, Banshee was shown as more, and it's not a British film, but it's a more British film than, say, Elvis. And so a lot of people thought he was going to win then. There was a huge surprise when Austin Butler won. And so I do think Austin Butler has a chance as well. And again, loved Elvis. He was magnificent in Elvis. And all his performances I thought were good at least. Brendan Fraser, didn't love him, but I thought it was a good performance at least. And I'd be happy to have these 3 guys winning. They all give tremendous performances. I do think it could be Brendan Fraser. But I'd also be very happy with Colin Farrell. I'd also be very happy with Austin Butler. Although, the thing is, if it's Austin Butler, and this is the last thing I'll say, because I've realised I've run way over time. The thing is, if it's Austin Butler, I won't be upset or anything. Of course I won't be upset. He gives a great performance. But the thing is, I'll be like, because even so I think Austin Butler is amazing at Elvis, he's a young actor. He's got Dune 2 coming out this year. I think he's filmed another film as well at the same time. He's got loads coming. He's a young actor. Colin Farrell's been around for a very long time. And so is Brendan Fraser. I don't think that they probably have as much chances to win Oscars as, say, Austin Butler does. And so, if Austin Butler wins, I'll be happy about that. But I'll also be a little bit sad for Colin Farrell and Brendan Fraser because, that might be the only chance. I mean, maybe not Colin Farrell's only chance. Maybe Colin Farrell has another chance. I don't know. But I think this is Brendan Fraser's last chance to win an Oscar. So that's why I'm kind of okay with him winning. Because he's been around for a while. He's had a really difficult time as well. And so if he wins, that's great. Because, he doesn't like Brendan Fraser. And also, if Colin Farrell wins, that's great as well, because he's been around for such a long while, and I don't know how many times he's going to be in an Oscar-nominated film like The Banshees of Inisherin, So I'll be happy with him as well. And I'll be happy if it's Austin Butler. But I'd also feel a bit sorry for both Colin Farrell and Brendan Fraser. That would be everything. Brendan Fraser. Now, Brendan Fraser. Pardon me there. But anyway, that is all the categories, it seems. So, let's go through it one last time, shall we? Yeah, best actor, I'm going to go for Brendan Fraser, like I said. Best action and supporting role is going to be Ke Huy Quan, I think. Best action leading role, I think it's going to be Michelle Yeoh. Could be Cate Blanchett, could very well be Cate Blanchett, but I think it's going to be Michelle Yeoh. Best actress in a supporting role, I think it's going to be Kerry Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin. Best animated feature, I think it's going to be Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. As we move on here, best cinematography, I think it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. Best costume design, I don't really talk about. Best costume design, would probably say Elvis myself. Although I do think Black Panther and Everything Everywhere All at Once and Babylon also has some great costume design. Best directing, I think, is going to go to the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Although I do think Martin McDonagh and Steven Spielberg have a good chance. Move down a little bit here. Give me a little sec. Best original score, I think, is going to go to Justin Hurwitz of Babylon, although Volker Bertalam, whatever his name is, can't pronounce it, and I do apologise for that, but I do think he has a chance for All Quiet on the Western Front. I also think John Williams has a chance for The Fabelmans. It probably won't happen. I'm a huge John Williams fan, so I'm biased, but still, we'll love to see him win. But I think it's going to go to Justin Hurwitz of Babylon. Best original song I didn't talk about because, quite frankly, I don't really care. But best picture, I think, is going to go to I was about to say All Quiet on the Western Front. It could be, but I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think The Fabelmans and Banshees of Inisherin have a chance, and they could sweep, especially Banshees of Inisherin. It could surprise everybody, but I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. We've moved down here. I don't think Tar's got a bloody chance. I've moved down a bit more. Visual effects. I think visual effects is going to be Avatar: The Way of Water. And I think you're a bit insane if you think no. And I also think that best adapted screenplay is going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. Be very surprised if anyone else takes it there. Would be very surprised, actually. And also, I think that the best original screenplay is going to be Martin McDonagh's screenplay for The Banshees of Inisherin. I think that the Daniel screenplay for Everything Everywhere All at Once has a good chance. I think that one has a good chance. I don't think The Fabelmans does. I don't think Tar does. And I don't think Triangle of Sadness does. So even so, I do think Everything Everywhere All at Once has got a good chance at best original screenplay. I think it's going to go to Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, and deservedly so. And that's it for today's podcast. It's probably a good thing that I didn't also watch Scream 6 and 65 in preparation for this podcast today, because I ran way over time. It's now, according to the sound recording that I'm recording the voice bit for the podcast on, we're in 1 hour and 12 minutes into this podcast. Look at that, people. So, I suppose this is it. So, also, one of the things I should say, actually, is that I am watching the Oscars tonight. It's the first time watching it. It's like, I'm really, really excited because, it's not tonight that I'm watching it. Right now I'm recording this review, but it will be tonight when you're watching this that I'll be actually watching the Oscars for the first time. So I'm really excited about it because I haven't watched the Oscars before. I'm going to pay to watch it probably, and I want to see what the awards ceremony is like. Hopefully it's not painful to watch like the BAFTAs was, and I want to see who's going to win. I want to see if there's going to be surprises, maybe another slappening, or maybe it's like a La La Land situation again where La La Land wins Best Picture, but then also doesn't, if everyone remembers that. I want to see if there's any surprises. I also want to see if, any film takes it that I didn't say. I want to be wrong. I'm all right being wrong. I want to be wrong if Banshees wins. That would be really exciting. I'd also be really exciting if Top Gun Maverick takes Best Picture. You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait to see, because no one's certain about this one. I don't think anything's certain. I really don't. I think probably the only certain, even this really isn't completely certain, is Ke Huy Quan for Best Foreign Actor. It could be Brendan Gleeson. It really could be. So, nothing's certain. I can't wait to watch it. I'll probably be doing a podcast talking about how the Oscars went within the week, if I get a chance. Fingers crossed I do. Because again, I've spoken about before, I'm very busy with dissertation work right now, but hopefully I'll be getting a podcast out talking about the Oscars results over the next week. But I am very, very excited to see it. Hopefully it's great, and hopefully there's some pleasant surprises in there as well. But anyway, guys, that's it for this podcast today. Thank you, as always, for watching. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. And also look forward to many more podcasts and videos and whatever's coming soon on this channel. Thank you for watching, or thank you for listening if you have been for such a long time, or thank you even just watched a little bit or listened to a little bit of this podcast. It's much appreciated. Again, there probably won't be a video in the week. Actually, there probably will be, but don't expect me uploading too much over the next couple of weeks / months, because I'm in the midst of planning, researching, writing my dissertation. So I don't have much free time right now, but do expect another podcast coming either in the week or next Sunday, depending on how things go. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. But bye for now. Bye.